You know, the saying goes that darkness can never drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And that is what we're set to do from here in the Voice of the Light studio. Welcome again to The Cross from the Voice of the Light studio. My name is Joshua Adegbite. And on this edition of The Cross from the Voice of the Light studio, we're turning our attention to the judiciary sector in Nigeria here. We're looking at an issue that has been brewing and has been generating controversies, generating reactions. It even looks like it has sharply divided Nigerians along maybe demographics, along religion, along ethnicity. Nigerians have been talking about these issues from different angles. It has to do with an accusation from a revered legal practitioner, a legal icon, a legal luminary, Are Afe Babalola, who said that a younger lawyer, Dele Farotimi, actually defamed him in his book that he just released recently. We'll be looking at this on this edition of The Cross from the Voice of the Light studio. And our guest in the studio today is also a legal practitioner, another very respected legal practitioner, two-time Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice in Ekiti State. Of course, he's a politician and a legal practitioner, so he's also a man that is eminently qualified to look at all of these issues. It's good to have you in the studio today, Barrister Owoseni. Thank you very much for coming.
It is a pleasure being here with you this afternoon. It's a pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
We appreciate you sincerely.
Thank you.
So let's just go straight to the heart of the matter, Barrister Owoseni. I want us to go to the bottom of all of this, to how this actually started. This issue, we've been having it back and forth. Nigerians have been reacting. And just like I said, it looks like Nigerians are divided. It's so many interesting conversations that we've had concerning this, so many extreme ideas and theories about this. But let us into how this actually started, how Dele Farotimi found himself in court. Yes, he has now been released on bail now.
Let me start from a position that this matter is sub judice. That is, the matter is in court.
It's in court, yes, I'm very much
There is a
aware.
limit to which we can deal with the matter that is in court, so that we are not accused of going into the issues, commenting on it, taking a deposition on matter that is court. But that as it may, I will try to explain these issues to the general public, since they have unnecessarily made the issue controversial.
The general public.
The general public have unnecessarily, particularly supporters of Dele Farotimi, they have unnecessarily made this matter controversial. Not only controversial, they have politicized it. Because this matter is purely illegal matter.
Okay.
When, particularly coming from a lawyer, when you write, you just don't write anything. Your freedom of speech, your freedom of writing, expressions, they have a caveat. You must not do that to injure, libel, or defame another fellow citizen. This issue, Dele Farotimi wrote a book.
All right.
He is the author, he is the publisher. It's titled Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System. Right away from the blast of the whistle, in that book, he started castigating the judiciary.
Okay. Well, I think I have
And
it here as well.
Are Afe Babalola. For in his forward, the very first page there, he started with this, that Are Afe Babalola corrupted the Supreme Court to procure a fraudulent judgment in the service of his client.
Yes.
Throughout the gamut of that book, It was full of insinuations of corrupting the judicial system of Nigeria. He did not limit it to Are Afe Babalola. He mentioned other prominent lawyers, including Olu Pedro, former Solicitor General, now an SAN of Lagos State, Olu Daramola, Faro, and so many others that they use their influence, they use their connections to corrupt the judiciary. What Are Afe Babalola and others whom he had mentioned in that book are saying, come and prove this allegation.
Okay, so are you saying that they have never been involved in these allegations, or you don't have an evidence to back your claims?
The Are Afe Babalola, after reading this book,
Okay.
took a procedural way
Okay.
to ensure that his image is protected.
Protected.
Let me clear one issue that is bothering the public, that Are Afe Babalola is using his influence, is unnecessarily punishing Dele Farotimi. No. A poor man has right under the law. Ditto for a successful man. Are Afe Babalola have struggled from nothingness, from the scraps of the art, to become a personality recognized all over the world. For you to go into publication against him that he corrupted the Supreme Court to get
Judgment for his
fraudulent
clients.
judgment
For his clients.
for his client. He has a right to say, come and give evidence to say this. That was why he has to write a letter. That is the procedure to the police. This person has libeled me, has defamed me in this book. Go into the investigation. Let him come and prove how I've corrupted the judicial system, particularly the Supreme Court. Let him come and establish this in the court of law. And every individual write petitions to the police every day. It is not limited to a poor man or to a big man to write petition. Are Afe Babalola wrote this petition to the police. The police followed due process. They invited him. When he did not come, when he did not honor the invitation of the police, they now obtain a warrant of arrest. A warrant of arrest is different from a court bench.
Okay.
It is only when you are read in the court of law and you jump bail that bench warrant can be issued against you. But where you are given ordinarily opportunity to come and defend yourself in the police station and you refuse to come, they can obtain a warrant of arrest to arrest you anywhere you are. Anywhere.
Because after his arrest, you recall that even the NBA kicked against this, frowned against it, complained vehemently against it. Even the NBA president, as at that time, Afam Osigwe, even said defamation is not criminal offense.
With due respect to our president, I'm very sure as at that time, he has not got the facts of the case.
Okay.
Which I'm very sure he later got and retracted.
Okay.
Because he
did
thought.
Did he retract? Did he retract that? Because I didn't hear him do that.
I'm very sure he is aware of the facts of this matter after he has been duly briefed. Okay. He thought this Dele Farotimi was arrested in Lagos and prosecuted in Lagos, where libel is not a criminal offense. But Dele Farotimi, because he was ordinarily resident in Lagos, was arrested in Lagos and brought to Ekiti State for prosecution. Libel, let me define that.
All right.
Libel could be a tort, could be a crime. That is, you could sue for libel for damages in civil action. You could take a civil action in libel. You could claim damages. At the same time, you could make it criminal by petitioning to the police that this person has criminally libeled me. I want the police to act on it. You could even do the two pari sue. That is, you could sue a civil and claim damages. At the same time, you could ask police to prosecute the person. Let me cite section. Yes.
Okay.
Section 59 of the Criminal Code Act,
Okay.
under which Dele Farotimi was charged,
Charges. Okay.
talks about publication of false news with intent to cause fear and alarm in the public. It's an offense.
So you're saying what
under the
Dele
Criminal
Farotimi
Code.
has published now, it's a lie. That is false and it's not correct.
No, you know the process is that when there is a petition against a person to the police,
Okay.
the police has a duty to invite
The individual.
the individual cited in that petition, who can be described as a suspect,
Okay.
is given the opportunity to write his own statement. And if the police discovers a prima facie case established in that petition, comparing the two, that a prima facie case has been made against the suspect, they now charge him to court. Charging him to court does not mean he's found guilty. He's still subject to proof beyond reasonable doubt.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that is the stage where the matter is. A prima facie case through the petition and a statement where he affirmed
Okay.
that he actually made those statements in his book. He affirmed it to the police. And the police discovered that a prima facie case for trial had been established. They are in the process of trying to establish that now. The police will present their witnesses to say that this publication is a lie. It is not correct. It will be given the opportunity to come and give evidence to establish that. That is what in law, that is called justification. That I published this book, I made these allegations that Chief Afe Babalola corrupted the Supreme Court to get favorable judgment for his client. It will provide evidence to substantiate that when he's defending. At the end of the day, the court will take a decision.
Well, I forgot
whether
to
believe him or not to disbelieve him.
Okay.
So that is why I'm saying they have unnecessarily made this matter controversial. Because it is for him
Okay.
to come and establish
I think one of the reasons again why
that Chief Afe Babalola actually corrupted the Supreme Court
has been very messy. It's the method of arrest again.
That's
that
not
has been criticized from different angles.
Let me
look like an abduction.
No.
Let
me clear that. Let me clear that once again.
Okay.
That the police could arrest a suspect anywhere in the world.
Any part of the country.
Any part of the country, even any part of the world.
Okay.
Are brought to the locus of prosecution. We have a life example. Nnamdi Kanu was arrested in Kenya. And is being prosecuted in Nigeria. Nobody, his lawyer have not challenged that. That the Nigerian police doesn't have the right to prosecute Nnamdi Kanu because he was arrested in Kenya. Ditto, libel publication, any part of the country where the book is published, action could be instituted there. Right. This book published by Dele Farotimi was published in Ekiti State. Chief Are Afe Babalola is based in Ekiti State. He read the book in Ekiti State. Several other people read it in Ekiti State. That was why he was merely arrested after due process had been followed. He was merely arrested in Lagos and brought to Ekiti State for prosecution. There is nothing wrong with that in law, because a suspect could be arrested anywhere and be brought to the locus of prosecution. It's not starting with Dele Farotimi. It is what is known and what is common anywhere. For instance, there is a matter which I personally handled for the former governor of Ekiti State, Are Afe Babalola. He was arrested and taken to Lagos for prosecution. He's still being tried in Lagos. Up till now, he's still being tried in Lagos, whereas he was governor of Ekiti State.
Are you talking about the FCC case?
The FCC case. He was arrested.
All right.
He was governor in Ekiti State. He was arrested and taken to Lagos for prosecution. So it is not strange. It's not a strange development that somebody, a suspect, is arrested somewhere and brought to the locus of the crime for prosecution.
But I feel that, ordinary people like myself now will have perhaps been, maybe they wouldn't have raised any dust if it was the police in Lagos.
No.
That actually did the arrest, and then maybe after
that is the essence of what that is the essence.
So why would the police come all the way from Ekiti when we also have the Nigerian police force in Lagos?
That is the essence of this type of interview. No.
Okay, they are colleagues in Lagos.
Are Afe Babalola is in Ekiti State.
All right.
His contact is the commissioner of police of Ekiti State. He cannot in Ekiti State. It's a procedurally and lawfully wrong for him to be based in Ekiti State and go to police commissioner in Lagos State to petition the Lagos State commissioner when he's resident in Ekiti State. It is the police.
But can the police in Ekiti State contact the commissioner of police in Lagos? Because
this is the procedure.
All right.
When the police in a particular jurisdiction are investigating a crime, where the suspect is outside their own jurisdiction, they have the right to go there and arrest that person. The only thing they do is to brief the commissioner of police in that state, that we are around to effect an arrest of a suspect. It's just for their information. They have the right, the police have the right anywhere to arrest a suspect and bring that suspect to the locus for prosecution. And that is exactly what happened in this case. The only thing the commissioner of police in Ekiti State will do with his men is to contact the commissioner of police, which in this instance was carried out. That we are your jurisdiction to arrest a suspect. And this is exactly what happened in this instance. There is something strange there.
Well, quickly, let me say this.
I
forgot to say this in my introduction, that Barrister Owoseni is actually the counsel to Are Afe Babalola in this particular issue. So it's not like he's actually involved in this matter. So he knows whatever he's saying, and he's saying it from a point, of course, of understanding and knowledge about everything as that case is concerned. Well, a lot of people have reacted. We saw the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, actually came to Ekiti State. We know that Dele Farotimi worked for him during the 2023 presidential election. He was with Are Afe Babalola. At the same time, he visited Dele Farotimi in detention. Many people thought that maybe he had come around to appeal to Are Afe Babalola to temper justice with mercy, and of course to look into the matter, and it should be settled amicably. But Farotimi came back later to say that he has not assigned anybody to beg for him, and he would never do that. Don't you think that this man has something, evidence that perhaps people he mentioned in the books should be scared of?
I was in that meeting.
Okay. When Peter Obi,
Dr. Peter of His Excellency, the former governor of Anambra State, came. And the question we asked him was that we spoke in Yoruba language. That is,
Okay, did you actually come there to apologize on his
No,
behalf?
to appeal.
To appeal.
To appeal on behalf
That he should be
of Dele Farotimi.
let off the hook?
Yes.
Okay.
So the question we asked the former governor was that ṣé wọ́n máa fa orí lẹ́yìn olórí ni? That is, we cannot discuss this issue of settlement out of court without you obtaining the consent
Of
Dele Farotimi, the man you have come here to plead for. We said we cannot go further. Babas told His Excellency that he's a breeder. He's in this world to beat people and not to destroy people. That the only thing he's interested in is to clear his name, which he has struggled all the years to build up. And somebody is alleging that I've been involved in corrupting the courts, particularly the apex court in this country that have corrected the Supreme Court. That what I'm asking for is the evidence to prove that. Come to court, come and prove it to the whole world that I've corrupted the Supreme Court. That is very simple. If otherwise, he should merely apologize that it was an oversight. I never meant what it has turned out to be. So that was what Are Afe Babalola told Dr. Peter Obi. That have you obtained the consent? Two people are involved. You are coming to me to appeal on behalf of the other person. Has the person given you consent?
And the person has
he said
he has not asked anybody.
He said go to the prison. We went to the prison to see Dele Farotimi. Dele Farotimi said he doesn't have his consent.
Okay, you followed
yes.
President Dr. Peter Obi.
Yes, we followed him to the yes. And Dele Farotimi said he cannot
apologize.
He cannot negotiate while he's in prison. So, which means he was not prepared. He has not given his consent to Dr. Peter Obi.
And that's why I asked that question. So, for him to have said that, well, now he has been granted bail. For him to have said that, don't you think that maybe he has this evidence?
Let him come up. That is what we are begging for.
Okay.
That is what we are asking.
Because he has pleaded not guilty.
Yes. That the next thing is to come and establish it in court. So that's what I'm saying. This matter is unnecessarily controversial. They have made it unnecessarily political. He said, he mentioned a lot of lawyers, including Are Afe Babalola, that they have corrupted the Supreme Court. With the Americans, they come and prove it. Let the whole world see. It is we that is appealing. Well, come and prove it with evidence that he actually corrupted the Supreme Court. What is controversial in that? Let him bring those evidence.
Well,
he's a lawyer.
Most respect to Are Afe Babalola, but what if he comes up with evidence, something?
The court will take a decision. The court will take a decision. But all Nigerians, all lawyers, all judges know that Are Afe Babalola has walked through thick and thin to become what he is today. He has gone to the Supreme Court. He has lost cases there. He has won cases there. All Nigerians are aware that in this case, in this election petition of Bayelsa State, Are Afe Babalola was even fined 30 million.
Himself and
by the Supreme Court. Yes, by the Supreme Court. So lawyers go to court, they win some, they lose some. For a lawyer to come and term that as corrupting the judiciary. Let me give you a hint in respect of this particular matter. There is a case involving the Eletu, Gbadamosi Eletu.
Is that a traditional ruler? Or
no, Major Gbadamosi Eletu.
Okay, that's the name.
Yeah, that is the name.
Okay.
Versus His Royal Majesty Oba Tijani Akinloye.
Okay.
That is the genesis of this matter.
Okay.
That is the case Dele Farotimi is alleging
It's alleging.
to have corrupted
The Supreme Court.
the Supreme Court
All right.
to get favorable judgment for his client. This matter started from the High Court, Court of Appeal. It was in the Supreme Court where the brief Are Afe Babalola. Dele Farotimi was not a party to this case. He was not a counsel to any of the parties, from the High Court to the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. It was after judgment had been obtained, the judge, my Lord Honorable Bayang Aka,
All right.
he read the lead judgment, but there was a slip. Instead of 254, he now read 10 acres, 254 hectares. He now read 10 hectares.
Okay.
That is just a slip.
So
The rules,
sleep.
it was a mere slip.
From-
The Supreme Court rules provide for the correction of that. It's not a new case. Provide for the correction of that slip. That was what the chamber. It's not even Chief Afe Babalola himself. It was the chamber of Are Afe Babalola that took the motion to the Supreme Court. Please look at this. From the High Court to the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court, all the papers, the land involved is 254 hectares and not 10.
Not 10.
And all the parties were invited, they saw it, they argue it, and that slip was corrected. That is what Dele Farotimi is calling corrupting the Supreme Court. In his book, that is what he has described as corrupting the Supreme Court. A lawyer of about 25 years standing.
But those kind of
should know.
discrepancies and those kind of errors, don't you think they are just too weighty? Particularly when you
They are not weighty. They are not weighty.
When you commit such an
They
error.
are not weighty because the rules of court, the rules of court, provide for correction of slips of that nature, and all the parties involved, excluding Farotimi, that was not a party to the matter, were served the processes, and they argued in the Supreme Court, and they all agreed that this was a smear slip. It was not a party to it. It was in the process.
Parties
Yes,
agreed.
Both parties
Both
agreed.
parties involved.
Were involved in the case, in which Dele Farotimi was not one.
Okay.
They agreed that it was a slip, and it was corrected by the Supreme Court. It was during the process of implementation of executing the judgment that, because it's a broad area in Lagos, it has now become a commercial area where so many commercial institutions have now become either tenants or property owners when they were executing this judgment. It was at that stage now that Dele Farotimi came up to represent one of the parties.
Okay.
One of the parties that bought land in that area.
Okay. It was later involved.
It was later involved as a counsel
As a counsel.
to one of the people that bought land in that area. So the issue of corrupting the Supreme Court,
The Supreme Court.
it has to come and prove it in court.
Was there any, apart from that, has there been any issue between these two personalities before? I'm talking about Are Afe Babalola now and Dele Farotimi.
No.
Have they ever been close?
Are Afe Babalola, I've never met him in life.
I've never met.
Unless in the pages of newspaper. Unless in the pages of newspaper.
There has never been any controversy.
He has never seen him in life.
They have never
had any controversy. I said this issue of the Supreme Court that he complained about, Dele Farotimi was not a party, he was not a counsel in that case. Are Afe Babalola did not even go to the Supreme Court, it was his chamber. He did not go to the Supreme Court to argue this particular case. So they never met. Up till now, they have never met.
Up until now.
Up till now. Up till the time I'm speaking here, authoritatively, they have never met. Are Afe Babalola had never seen Dele Farotimi in his life. when you want to fight injustice in any system, there's a procedure to do that.
All right.
It is completely different from when you use your own platform to defame or libel people through your publication. Chief Afe Babalola has never been in government. He was offered opportunity to serve as Attorney General and Minister of Justice twice, and twice he rejected it. He was, in short, Are Afe Babalola is not a politician. He was never a politician. He's not a politician. He struggled to become what he is in life. So for him to be alleged of corrupting the judiciary, there must be evidence to prove that. And that is what he's asking for. Come and prove these things in the court of law. He has a right, under our laws, to ask, this allegation against me, come and prove it. It is not a crime for a big man who struggled to become somebody in life, to become an icon. It is not a crime for him to say, I've been libeled. Please come and prove it. Is that unconstitutional? Is that unlawful? What is? And he has not done that by not following due process. He followed due process to say, this is your book. You said I've corrupted the judiciary. You have called me all sorts of names there. I don't know you. I've never seen you in life. I've never argued any case with you. Come and prove it in court. He wrote to the police. The police followed due process, and they arraigned him in court. He pleaded not guilty, which means he wants to justify the publication. Let him do that. Why the Aluta cries all over the land that is being victimized? Victimized for what? How is he being victimized? He's a big man in Afe Babalola. Has no right to say, I've been libeled. Come and prove it.
I still want you to address this issue of the corruption in the legal system. I still want you to address that, to address that issue. Yes, we'll come back to Are Afe Babalola and Dele Farotimi. But the fact that even some revert...
You don't investigate rumor. I cannot be talking of rumor. I cannot be discussing. I cannot be discussing rumor.
You've been a learned person. You've been learned for many years.
Because...
And so you must have witnessed, maybe if Femi Falana wrote a book as far back as 2013 about the rot, wrote a paper about the rot in the legal system.
I've never read that. Probably he has evidence to prove that. But as a former Attorney General of the
legal
state,
system is perfect,
and as a former chairman of the NBA, I can't be discussing rumors in the market. I cannot be discussing issues that I can't come to the public like of this nature and be accusing anybody of corruption when I don't have the facts.
But we've had issues even when the CJN has suspended some lawyers, when some lawyers and justices have been sanctioned.
I'm not aware of that. That some justices were sanctioned for corruption at the Supreme Court or any other court. And if there is a process, we have a process of discipline any judicial officer.
Okay.
If some judicial officers have erred, I agree that that has taken place. And they have been disciplined according to the procedure provided for by the Nigerian Judicial Council, who are in charge of disciplining any judges. And they have never spared. They have never spared any judge that there is an established evidence against them. And that is not limited
to the
judiciary.
The NJC will never spare.
They have never spared
judicial officer.
Any judicial officer.
They have established
evidence
against them.
That is not how to. That is not how. That does not go to scandalizing the title of the judiciary that they are corrupt. They are this and that. Every system have their scapegoats. Have their bad eggs. Have their erring officers.
Okay.
And they have the procedure for disciplining them. like the police.
But you know, the
police have disciplined many of the officers.
We always say that judiciary
for
is the last hope of the common man.
They still remain.
I know, understand. They still remain. So even if we are not going to have a perfect system, it must be near perfect. It must be near perfect. And so, if you're saying that, if you're now comparing that with the police and other,
who is rating them now? Who is rating them that they are not near perfect? They are not near perfection.
Well,
where is the scale? Where is the scale of judgment? Where is the scale of judgment?
Like I said, and you know, I'm sure you know that some of your colleagues at some point have been suspended. I know of a lawyer, maybe for the purpose of this interview, you know, want to
a drop
that was suspended,
a drop of water in the ocean. You want to use that to judge the entirety of the lawyers in the country and the judges? A drop of water in the ocean.
You're saying that
you want to use that to judge the entirety of the judiciary and the lawyers in Nigeria?
You're saying that just few judicial officers that are corrupt.
What I'm saying is that, like in every system, if there are proof against any erring officer, the National Judicial Council have always taken steps to discipline such judicial officers. And I'm saying there are so few that you cannot use that statistics to generalize that the whole judiciary are corrupt.
Let me quickly read this. Let me quickly read this to you. When Falana actually wrote that paper, the corruption in the Nigerian legal system, some people believe that it is maggoty and it's never in doubt. Falana in 2013, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2019, 2023 lamented naked corruption in judiciary. I'm sure he's your brother, also from Ekiti State, and you may be friends. In a paper they wrote in the judiciary presented in 2013, Falana recalled how then President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Ayo Salami, rejected promotion to the Supreme Court. He was the president of the Court of Appeal then. He rejected promotion to the Supreme Court and turned around to accuse the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Aloysius Katsina Alu, in a suit saying Katsina Alu attempted to subvert justice in a Sokoto governorship election. I'm sure that you are very much aware of that.
I'm not here to be a judge over the opinion of the Lanesik Femi Falana. That is his own opinion. I'm not here. I don't know the circumstances behind. I don't know the facts he has before writing that paper. I'm not the one to judge that here. I'm not the one to determine the ingredients behind his writing that book. But don't let us lose focus. If there is corruption in the judiciary, do you now allege it is Are Afe Babalola and you now wrote a whole book?
Let me quickly ask this question. But justices sometimes
to say that it's Are Afe Babalola,
but justice sometimes because they are human, they can have sympathy for parties involved in cases sometimes.
No, cases are not fought. They are not decided on settlements. What you are raising, what you call sympathy, are mere sentiments that are not allowed to grant judgment of any court. And when a court delivers a judgment that the other party discover to be erroneous, you have the right to appeal to the Superior Court, and the error will be corrected. The system has allowed you to correct whatever error perceived by you to be erroneous in any judgment. It is not for a lawyer to now write a book to say that somebody corrupted the Supreme Court.
Because according to
he has to come.
According to Falana in that paper, he said Salami was suspected of having sympathy for a leading opposition party in 2011, adding that the Federal Judicial Service Commission, chaired by Katsina Alu, recommended Salami for promotion. That was when they wanted to promote him to the Supreme Court, and then
he used the word suspected. Yeah.
Well, yes, he used the word suspected.
It was not categorical.
It was not categorical. But you could always, but you always recall then that the then president, Salami, had issues with President Jonathan then. Recall what happened to him.
To have issues, could be grounded on so many things. It is only when that is established in crime, or that you have violated your judicial oath, that this measure is taken. That you have issues with one person, whether the president or anybody, could be political. It could arise from sentiment, but that should be subjected to scrutiny by the appropriate disciplinary committee, which in case of the judges is the National Judicial Council.
The NJC.
It's not just sentiment. We cannot be trying people on sentiment. It is wrong. It is procedural. It is unlawful. You cannot judge people on sentiment. There must be concrete and established evidence before you can convict anybody.
But quickly, we'll move on and touch on some other important things. But I want to go back to the issue of the error that you mentioned the other time, because it just struck me. I just look at it, 254 hectares. And then, erroneously,
yes,
the justice then said 10 hectares.
Yes.
You just look at the margin. You know, to some people, they may look at it like, how can you make such a huge mistake? You're not even talking about 200. You're not even talking about 100. From 254, it became 10. I'm still surprised.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised, because we are all human beings.
Okay.
Supreme Court justices are human beings.
Okay.
They are subjected to make errors and mistakes. That is because they are not God. They are still human beings. So while he was reading through the judgment, he could erroneously put that 10.
They are human beings. At the same time, they can have soft spots.
No, not. If it is soft spot, that will be discovered as an error and be corrected due to the judicial process. But this one is a slip. This one was a mere slip, and all the parties were invited, and they argue it in the open court, and they considered that in fact the matter they are litigating upon is 254 hectares and not 10 hectares. So it was a occurrence of all the parties. So human error. Nobody is above it.
Okay, let's come back to the president now. So if Dele Farotimi will be willing to come to the round table and perhaps have a negotiation with Are Afe Babalola, what will Are Afe Babalola want from me? Maybe to settle out of court. That is, if he will be willing.
I've already mentioned in the course of this interview that Are Afe Babalola is a builder. He's not a destroyer. He has said so several times that his mission in the world is to build people, not to destroy people. That if this young man could realize his error and apologize and retract those offensive statements, he will overlook everything. Otherwise, he has to prove it in court. It means, as you have insinuated during the course of this interview, that probably he has evidence.
Evidence, yes.
If he's not prepared to apologize and retract those offensive and libelous publications, then he has to come and prove in the court. Why are people against that? Why the insinuations everywhere?
But have you,
what you are mentioning of a faction of NFL? I'm telling you emphatically that most of the people, one way or the other, are on this matter, don't know the facts of the case.
They don't know the facts.
They don't know the facts of the, they don't know the facts of the case. Otherwise, the only thing, if you go and see their criticisms, is about the arrest. Say, why should he be arrested in Lagos? and be brought to
Ekiti.
for trial. There is no lawyer that doesn't know that's a procedure, that happens. And I've cited examples here.
And why did NBA in the first place also frowned against it?
The
president of the NBA. He's supposed to be the number one.
Let me tell you,
legal practitioner.
Let me tell you emphatically, without prejudice, to my national president, he's also a human being.
Okay.
Sometimes you jump into an issue. You later discover it is not like that. I'm very certain if the NBA president is interviewed today on this matter, he will have a different view about it.
You are saying that he did what he said
at the heat of time.
At the heat of time, on the spur of the moment.
It was at the spur of the moment. Without even getting fast of this matter. You know, as at the time Dele Farotimi was arrested and brought to Ekiti State, he was also having issues with this man of UBA.
Is it the chairman?
Yes.
Elumelu. Okay.
So when he was immediately arrested, there was the insinuation that it was over his problem with Elumelu. It was discovered. It was over the issue of libelous publication in his book against Are Afe Babalola. So it was at the heat of that time.
But have you noticed that
the national president of NBA made that?
Have you noticed that book has now gained popularity after that arrest?
Definitely, it has to, because people
spreading like wildfire.
Definitely, people.
I have my own soft copy on the phone right now.
People will want to see the content of this book that have generated so much heat, and that is why this issue cannot be settled until Dele Farotimi either prove it,
okay,
either justify the publication, or he retract the content.
So if he doesn't,
the whole world.
So if he doesn't do any of this, yes, I know Afe Babalola is a legal practitioner and it's been a lawyer all his life. Are you saying that he will ensure that Dele Farotimi?
Not ensure. I've sometimes counsel. This is my personal view. It has nothing to do with Are Afe Babalola of being his lawyer. Dele Farotimi happened to be a former president of Student Union at LASU, while I was former president of University of Ife.
Okay.
So we share the same spirit of Aluta.
Okay.
But I want to emphasize that this is not the case for Aluta. This matter is not a case for Aluta's struggle. If some people are making gains out of it, his immediate family, his wife, his children, his brothers and sisters should call him to a corner of their rooms and talk to him, because he's a lawyer and is aware of the consequences and aftermath of this. If he's not able to prove this, this matter is in court now. A suspect is on guilty until otherwise proved by the court beyond reasonable doubt. What about if it is proved against him that he has made a libelous allegation against those people he mentioned in his books? He risks losing his certificate as a lawyer.
Yes, I was going to talk about that because Are Afe Babalola mentioned that.
Yes, he risks losing his certificate as a lawyer. He risks being sentenced. Do you want to sacrifice this at the altar of Aluta? Of shouting that I'm a human rights activist? This is not human rights activism. I'm emphasizing it. This is not a human rights activism.
So how would you describe this? You think it's a libel?
It's a libelous publication.
Libelous publication.
Yes, it's a libelous and defamatory publication. He has to go to court and justify it. if he's not prepared to risk his certificate and jail sentence, he has to come to court and justify that with evidence that Are Afe Babalola corrupted the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is the highest court of this country. We have to respect them. If he has chosen not to respect them, he has chosen to scandalize them, he has to justify it in the court of law. If he cannot justify this, he risks so many things.
So many.
How can you struggle to become a lawyer? How can you struggle to become a lawyer? Don't you know how difficult it is to pass JAMB? Be in the university for 5 years, go to law school, and you are passing for 25 years. You now want to sacrifice at the altar of Aluta that you are a human rights fighter. Is this a case of human rights battle? A case of diabolical publication? Is this a case of human rights battle? People that are supporting him don't know the facts of the case, or that's deceiving him.
So how then will you rate Dele Farotimi as a lawyer? Is he more of an activist to you, or?
I've never seen him in court.
You have never seen him?
I've never seen him practice in court. And as I've said, this case that has landed him in this issue, he was not involved there. He was not a party to the case. He was not a counsel to any party in the case. He has never met Are Afe Babalola in his life. What is Aluta in this? What is human rights activism in this?
What about the other people mentioned in the book? Are they also pursuing their cases against Dele Farotimi? The personalities you mentioned.
Let me read out.
Okay.
Some of the things he published in this book in a summary.
All right.
He said that Are Afe Babalola corrupted the Supreme Court to procure a fraudulent judgment in the service of his client. 2, that Lawal Pedro,
okay,
now SAN, at the material time, the Solicitor General of Lagos State corrupted himself, abandoned the interests of the state,
okay,
his citizens, and any pretense to decency, and became the undisclosed attorney to Dele to family. This does betray the public trust in the office of the Solicitor General, which was headed by Lawal Pedro, now an SAN.
All right.
That Are Afe Babalola, Oludaramola, Olufaru, and the law offices of Afe Babalola and Co., Emmanuel Chambers, compromised the Supreme Court and the remaining semblance of integrity it may have had when they went back to the Supreme Court and got the court to swim in the savor of corruption and shameful self-abnegation. That is Supreme Court. For a lawyer, he has to prove that.
He has to prove that.
He has to prove that.
Or else
he risks many things.
Many things.
He risks many things.
Is freedom inclusive?
His certificate as a lawyer. It's not easy to become a lawyer. I can't trade with this my certificate as a lawyer. I can't joke with it. I have this is another extract from his book.
From his book.
I have seen enough by the end of September 2013 to be convinced that there was a high-level conspiracy involving elements in the Supreme Court, the Lagos judiciary, Afe Babalola, and his crew, and with the Dele as co-beneficiaries. He went further. The Supreme Court, in a most shameless manner, sat a second time on the same matter and established the facts of the incompetence or corruption of each and every member of those who were involved with the Gbadamoshele case. This was the point where I realized that the Nigerian judiciary was hopelessly lost from top to bottom.
What do you think that
how
Dele Farotimi,
in a matter that is not a party, that is not a counsel,
don't you think that Dele Farotimi is not proud of the legal profession at all? That is not even proud of being a lawyer.
Why should you go and study law then? Why should you not go and study?
Maybe after he studied law and
what do you call it? they call it human rights
activism.
Activism. If there's a course like that, he ought to have gone for that now. This is another extra from that book.
All right.
We quickly realized that the law office of Afe Babalola and Co. Emmanuel Chambers had outsourced the judgment execution to another law office, the firm of S.B. Joseph and Co. And the firm had fraudulently and deliberately concealed the judgment of Aka and had underlined the words of Justice Rivers to deceive and perhaps mislead Atilade. Atilade was a former chief judge of Lagos State. Or, as more likely, Atilade was always a part of the original fraud.
Okay.
Look at all the scandalous, libelous and defamatory allegations against all the stratas, mentioning names.
Okay, I understand the fact that we are not passing any judgment here. But just to ask, like I asked the other time, that what would Are Afe Babalola want from Dele Farotimi? Maybe if he apologizes, if he retracts his statement. But like I said, the book is everywhere right now. But for this kind of crime, this kind of offense,
alleged offense, because he said he has justification for
this. So if such person is eventually found guilty of libel, how long do you think such person will spend behind bars?
It's just
what kind of
is there under section
what kind of punishment
under section 273 of the Criminal Code Act.
This is just for purpose of education, so everybody can learn.
So section 1 says that any person
who
publishes or reproduces any statement, rumor, or report which is likely to cause fear and alarm to the public or to disturb the public peace, knowing or having reason to believe that that statement, rumor, or report to be false, shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and liable on conviction to imprisonment for 3 years.
3 years. Well, we'll come back to this. But I quickly want to touch on some other issues.
Do you know this issue? Let me tell you, because of this Aluta spirit, my friend, it has even gone beyond Afe Babalola now.
Okay.
Are you not aware that 2 orders have been obtained against him in the Federal Court Ibadan?
Okay.
And Federal Court Lagos, where 2 senior advocates of Nigeria have sued him too.
Were they mentioned in his book?
They were mentioned.
Okay, that's okay. I asked the question the other time.
So, are you not aware that some of the lawyers mentioned have also written a petition to the Legal Operation Disciplinary Committee? Are all this not beyond Afe now? Even if Afe withdraws his own suit, his own petition against him, he cannot prevail on all those, like Lawa Pedro and others.
So
he cannot prevail on them
from different angles.
Yes, from several angles. And he's saying it's a Aluta struggle. Is this a Aluta struggle?
Okay.
Which human rights is he fighting for? Is it how to fight human rights?
Well, apparently,
is this how?
Apparently, this is just an interview, and we cannot pass judgment here. You will continue with your work as the counsel to Are Afe Babalola, and then next time you'll be in court. We'll see what will happen.
He has been granted
bail. I know.
So the matter is coming up for hearing on February 13th.
February 13th.
When we come and justify all these things I've read out.
Okay.
So.
All right, and the conditions. The conditions of his bail.
Now, for whatever judgment is given now, we say the court has been corrupted against him. The court is so slandered. They are slandered that you have the court. When he cannot justify this, if anything happens, you say they have corrupted, and that is why they are dealing with me.
So you are very confident that he will not be able to justify everything he has said there.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't know how a lawyer will justify this. This is personal. How is he going to justify this? The Supreme
Did your
Court.
client, Are Afe Babalola, own up to you about maybe some of these things?
How can you justify that Supreme Court was corrupted? How? Through what means? How do you justify that? I'm surprised that a lawyer is doing this.
But a lawyer is doing this. And that's why I asked the other time that maybe this individual
I can't understand.
He's not even proud of the legal profession.
He has not said that.
The legal system.
He has not said that. Otherwise, he will have hung his gown now and threw away his certificate as a lawyer. Why should you go and read law?
Well, you may actually study a course and maybe after getting into the heat of it and reality dawn on you, you realize that maybe you're in the wrong place. We have a lot of people who studied law, and some of them are filmmakers.
My view about it as subjective.
My
views about him are subjective. For the purpose of this interview, they are subjective. I don't know the reason behind his doing this. Maybe to gain favoritism or to gain popularity. I don't know. Where is this? I don't know whether. I don't know the facts. He has to justify all this. These are my subjective views on this matter. I want you to bear record. These are my subjective views. If you may have evidence, as you have suggested, you may have evidence to see how the Supreme Court were corrupted.
Because he said nobody should beg on his behalf.
Exactly. Alawa Pedro saying when he was Solicitor General in Lagos State, how he corrupted the system there, and until that day, former CG of Lagos State, he may have evidence against them. Let them come out.
All right. Well, it's still the cross from the Voice of the Light, from the Voice of the Light studios, and then we have Barrister Owoseni Ajayi in the studio there with us today. He's a legal practitioner, of course, two-time Attorney General in Ekiti State, and is the counsel to Are Afe Babalola in this case that has been dubbed by some people as a rumble in the judiciary. So he's the counsel to Are Afe Babalola in this particular case. And I want to quickly come to you, because this is a podcast interview, and most times I would like to go personal. Yes, you've been a politician as well as a legal practitioner. I know that in that particular interview, you've encouraged more lawyers, to also participate in politics. And then we've seen quite a lot of them. Even a lot of people that were not even lawyers were not, by the time they get into politics, because they want to equip themselves with the necessary rules and what the Constitution says. They go back to school to study law, and they do very well. Two-time Attorney General for Governor Fayose in Ekiti State. By the time that administration, the second term, was wrapping up, all eyes were on you, because I was actually in Ekiti State at that time. You looked like the poster boy, like the chosen one, very loved apostle of Dele Farotimi. But suddenly, things took a new turn, and many people were surprised that what happened between Dele Farotimi and Owoseni Ajayi. Some said that there were rumors that you betrayed him. You betrayed him. And I would like you to quickly delve into that and tell us what actually happened. Many people thought that by now you will have been serving as the governor of Ekiti State, if that arrangement had been there and your relationship did not break up.
I'm very sure my governor would never say that I betrayed him at any point in time. He will never say that. Because God has used me for him severally. Both outside government and inside government. Don't forget that Governor Fayose was severally accused of murder. Serially accused of murder. I was his personal lawyer outside government.
Serially accused of murder.
And I was able to use my profession to ensure that he was never tried and convicted of any of those allegations. Also, Governor Fayose will be the first governor to pass through AFCC prosecution, and got out free through my legal assistance. So that was why I was able to serve him his first time as Attorney General. When we left office, when there was a coup against that administration.
First time?
Yes.
All right.
There was a coup against that administration, and it was removed because it was not procedurally impeached. The Supreme Court found this out later.
Yes.
And there was a judgment on that, that he was not procedurally impeached. I stood with him.
Sorry for going off track. We even learned at that time that coup, of course, was orchestrated by the then president.
So many things happened.
So it was the day.
So many things happened that we can't say here. So many undercurrents. Yes, so many undercurrents.
He wanted Fauci out, and he.
So many undercurrents happened that we cannot expatiate upon here.
Okay.
And when we left office, there were so many issues against the EFCC. These are other cases. I stood with him.
All right.
So when we came back, I was in the forefront of his coming back.
Okay.
That was why he was able to return me as AG. So, at what point did I betray him? I went in 2017. I went for the final screening for the conferment of Senior Advocate of Nigeria. I took permission from him as my governor. He gave me all the resources to go to Abuja. I was to face the last panel for the conferment on Monday. On Sunday evening, 9 p.m., he dissolved the whole ESCO, making me a former Attorney General less than 6 hours to face the screening of SA Privileges Committee. Will I have offended him?
So he did that to clear the coast for you? He did that to clear the coast for you? Or what happened? Okay.
I said 6 hours.
6 hours, yes.
To the screening.
To the screening.
Of conferment of Senior Advocate of Nigeria in 2017.
Yes.
He removed me.
He removed you as the Attorney General.
By dissolving the entire ESCO.
Okay.
Thereby, instead of moving in as a sitting Attorney General, which will give me additional mark.
Exactly. So I just wanted to be clear.
Are you getting me now? I lost that mark. So in any way, he was the one that betrayed you then? Instead of being a senior advocate in 2017, as a sitting Attorney General, I have to be struggling for it now. Who betrayed each other now?
That's why I asked that question.
So who betrayed each other? Am I the one that betrayed him?
So what could have happened then?
So
with all the support that you gave to him, standing by him,
so because
the cases, the FCC cases and
everything. My application for SCN was not behind him. My going to Abuja was as a city Attorney General. I cannot leave the state without informing my governor. He even gave me the money to travel and for all the logistics. So at what point did I offend him or betrayed him? So to not shift the rug on my leg.
So do you think that he did that intentionally, deliberately, and that action was targeted at you, or it was just time for him to dissolve his cabinet?
Why should he dissolve cabinet? 9 p.m. on Sunday evening.
So you were the target?
I wouldn't know, but I asked him. He said, we have served enough, all of us. In fact, I'm not the only one involved. That it was the entire school that was...
You thought that you could have tarried a little bit at least, allow you to pass your screening and everything, then it could have...
That was suggested to him. But the chief of staff there, let Owoseni come back from Abuja. Let him resolve the issue of his SCA. Let him come back from Abuja before you do this. But he decided for that. So there are many things we can't be discussing here because...
So you think all of these issues they're political, right? be looking at your future, because I also saw an interview where maybe you had with a newspaper and said maybe Fauci knew the kind of person you are, and you would not compromise standards, you would not lie, and that is why he would not want you to succeed him.
So many things went on the ground.
Or maybe he felt that
We cannot
you
be a subject for
knew
this
too
interview.
much. Or maybe he felt that you knew too much about his dealings.
That should not have been a reason for denying me the governorship.
Because when you look at what is happening,
That could not have been the reason for denying me the governorship.
because when you look at what is happening between Wike in River State and the man that succeeded him. We're talking about Siminalayi Fubara. Fubara worked for him. He did a lot of things for him. And many people have this opinion now that it's because Fubara says, okay, my boss, we know a lot about each other. Just like the Yorubas we say, that he come back for Buru. He says, I don't care. Let's go ahead with it. So maybe it was because I know that you must be very pained about that decision, knowing full well that you are eminently qualified and you've served your states very well.
Let me tell you something about our former governors.
Okay.
They usually insist on putting a puppet
A puppet.
to succeed them. It has never worked anywhere.
But sometimes, of course, it boomerangs. It backfires sometimes.
When there are some of these things that cannot be said here.
Why?
One prominent Oba in Ekiti who is aware of the agreement between us to succeed him. When he now saw him turning around, he asked him, but we have agreed on Owoseni succeeding.
Owoseni will succeed you.
Owoseni, the former president of Ife today, you know, former chairman of NBA, very brilliant lawyer. Can we trust him as governor? He was asking that question. So, I wouldn't know.
Fauci said, can we trust him as governor?
Said Owoseni again, former president of Ife today, you know. Former president of Ekiti, chairman of the NBA, a very brilliant lawyer. He's my lawyer.
It feels like you know too much. That you're well grounded, well equipped.
We trust him
as governor.
So, but the future belongs to God. The future belongs to God. It is only God that has totality of power, not human beings.
But when you look at Fauci as we speak
So,
now, have you forgiven him?
There is nothing to forgive. There's no grudge to hide. Because what Governor Fauci did to me, did it to every one of others out there.
Everyone.
There is no single person that served him as commissioner that is with him today. Why should a two-time governor be creating before a governor that was produced by another governor?
You're talking about the present governor.
The present governor was produced by Atubani Adebayo. It took him through the ranks to become what he is today. Where are the products of Owoseni in Ekiti or anywhere? Not a single person. How can somebody be governor for 80 years? How can all your supporters be bad? If Owoseni is bad, what are your commissioner for works? What about your commissioner for finance? What about your chief of staff? What about your commissioners of information? All of them. How can all of them be bad? If I betrayed him, so all those people betrayed him too, then something must be wrong with him personally.
With Fauci personally?
Yes. If all your aides betrayed you, not one, He made nobody.
Fashi made nobody.
All of us, he made nobody. That is why he has to go and be cringing before about today to eat.
To eat, to look for
What do you call it?
But Fashi is a successful man. He's been governor twice.
Okay.
He's saying he's looking for what to eat. No, I'm just asking.
What is he doing with power? Why is Niyi Adebayo and Fayemi not doing what he's doing to Bawo? Carrying placards and is in PDP. He claimed to be in PDP. He is carrying banners of Bawo all over. Why is Fayemi not doing that? Why is Niyi Adebayo not doing that? Who are the makers of Bawo?
Maybe just
what?
appreciate what the government is doing.
What?
The government
He raised a candidate against him in the general election. Where? Where?
Is the man still within? I think Bisi Kolawole, if I'm not...
I wouldn't know. But
mistaken, yeah.
all the former deputy governor he used, Eleka, Senator Lugimi, all of them, how can all of them be bad? Where are they today?
Even Eleka that he fielded.
That he fielded against me.
Against you.
Even Abedu Aluko, Omoyeni, he used nearly 5 deputy governors. How can all of them be bad? None of them are with him today. None. All the deputy governor he used. So no, even the attorney that succeeded me, nobody is with him today.
So you saying Fayoshi is the villain of politics?
Something is there.
So what is happening with opposition in that state now as we speak? Looks like it's at a very, 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 very low level. Opposition. That opposition is not even existing in Ekiti State. It looks like that. Did Fayoshi cause this?
Is it in Ekiti State alone or in Nigeria?
Well, we can say the same of Nigeria as well, because the PDP has a lot of struggles to deal with.
Yes, a wiki.
He's in the PDP. And
claim to be PDP. He installed them ago. And they are singing APC tunes. Is that how an opposition leader should act? Is PDP at the federal level today is more or less an arm of APC.
An arm of APC?
Unless the PDP can reorganize themselves and find a credible national chairman, that party is gone. It is the same thing that is happening in Ekiti. PDP has no structure in Ekiti today now.
No structure? Because
they have a caretaker chairman there. An election is coming in 2026.
And what can you say about Bao's performance?
As far as I'm concerned, he's doing fine.
Okay. So maybe that's why Fayoshi is actually rooting for him. If you, Owoseni, you can say that he's doing fine. Don't you think it will be wrong for us to say Fayoshi is looking for what to eat? He has also seen that he's doing fine.
The diameters of argument is different.
Okay.
Fayoshi is the opposition leader in Ekiti State, a two-term governor under PDP. Yes. You cannot compare his level with my own. I don't have any appointment under APC today. But his few supporters are working with with political appointment.
Fayoshi supporters.
Yes, the remnants. They are with Bao. How can he successfully lead an opposition? And he's the leader of the opposition. So looks like his status is different from my own.
So looks like the APC or Bao will just have a walk in the park in the 2026 governorship election.
Tomorrow. We can't discuss tomorrow. Only God knows tomorrow.
We're talking about the man supposedly the figure of opposition in that state. But you also say that the man is doing fine. And less than 2 years to another election. That's why I said it looks like they are going to have a walk in the park. I'm talking about the APC.
If let me be sincere.
Except comment. We have cracks in that party.
If the situation remains like this, with APC, a united party, with all those former governors, united in favor of the incumbent governor, Fayemi, so all of them. And the PDP remains like this, rudderless. Then it will be a walkover. It will be a walkover. Because I cannot be deceiving myself. There is going to be election. In 2 days' time, we will be in 2024. That will be next year. 2026.
We'll be talking about next year.
We don't have any credible candidate for PDP as at now, trying to sell himself against an incumbent that is trying to bear for the state. Okay, what magic? With the opposition in tatters, due to remove him. It is except, as I repeat, it is only God. It is only if God decide otherwise. If God decide otherwise, because.
What about the SDP? Because I know you worked with the SDP.
Yes.
So because at some point people said that most of the big wigs in the SDP are actually PDP members, and they are all going back to the PDP, including Tim Shegoni. I don't know. Some of them have returned.
Let me tell you the politics behind defection to SDP. We rooted for former Governor Shegoni to be the candidate of PDP. In a Machiavellic way, Governor Yovayo brought in BC Kolawole. That he knew he cannot win election. That he knew that he cannot win election against an incumbent APC. So, in order to realize our ambition to install Shegoni as governor, I can tell you that substantial part of PDP went to SDP and worked for Governor Shegoni, and we actually worked for him, except that probably God didn't need him there. We would have been governor there today in Ekiti. So, as of today now, virtually everybody in SDP has gone back to PDP or APC.
What about yourself? Where do you stand?
As at now, I remain committed to my practice.
Your practice?
Yes.
So you are.
As at now, I'm apolitical.
You are political.
I remain committed to my practice for now.
Tomorrow.
Yes, because we are human beings. Anything can happen tomorrow. But as at today, I remain committed to my legal practice.
Okay.
Wọ́n ní iṣẹ́ ẹni ní òkè tán èèyàn jẹ́. Iṣẹ́ ẹni ní òṣè gbà lọ́wọ́ èèyàn. If not for my practice, it would have been a different thing today.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up and let me quickly, because I believe that in the media, there are some pillars that are very important. Of course, whatever you put out there, you should ensure that you educate, you inform, and you entertain with whatever you do. And those two key factors of education and information, they are very key. And we have actually delved into issues surrounding the legal system today. And I just want us to touch on one or two elementary issues for the purpose of education for people. You know, we've talked about defamation, we've talked about libel and the slander. I want you to quickly break it down for those who are watching us, so they can pick one or two things, so they know that this is what I've committed though by this. You've talked about the freedom of speech, and for the fact that you've got a freedom of speech does not mean that there are no caveats.
Yes.
So I want you to break it down. Start with libel, then slander, and what constitutes a defamation, and the likely punishment.
There is a thin difference between defamation and libel.
All right.
Libel is merely when you put it into writing.
Okay. Yes.
But defamation, it could be through your words of mouth.
Slander. Okay.
If you run your mouth against anybody, so sometimes that could be put into print. So And I've said in this interview that both has two implications for the dress. There could be civil libel, yes, there could be civil action against libel or defamation, in which you could claim damages to as compensation.
Okay.
You could report to the police too
Okay.
that my life is in danger.
All right.
With this publication that is going around,
Okay.
my life is in danger. Please come and rescue me from this person that have libeled me. That will make it criminal. So the police will investigate that, and if a prima facie case is established in the petition, then the suspect will put in the dock to come and defend himself. He could raise justification. He could retrieve it. So if he raises justification, then that is trial.
That's trial.
So then slander, defamation, libel, they are all species of wrongful publications against a person,
an individual.
Against an individual.
So if you found guilty, sometimes it could be in form of compensation.
Yes.
The court will award,
and you could even go pari passu.
All right.
You could pursue the two.
Okay.
You could write the police, help him prosecute him and send him to jail. Then I want 100 million as damages. You could pursue the two, or opt, like if I've ever opt for the criminal libel.
So that's what Chief Abela
opted for. Yes.
Well, thank you very much for this explanation. We sincerely appreciate you. And of course, everyone that has been following us on this interesting conversation with Barrister Owoseni Ajayi, two-time Attorney General of Ekiti State and Commissioner of Justice. We appreciate you sincerely for coming to the Voice of the Light studios, and of course have this engagement with us in the Voice of the Light studio on this interview. We call it The Cross. We'll be back some other time with another interesting personality. I want to say a very big thank you to everyone that worked with me here. Let me start with a production director, Yaba Yomi Temitokwe Olomike. Appreciate you sincerely. Thank you for the guys behind the camera, the technical guys. Appreciate you, Ebelo Yidele. Thank you very much. Gani Rabiu, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And of course, to our executive producer, Abatunde Bangboye, thank you very much. My name is Joshua Debute. Once again, I say have a great day and bye for now.